Welcome to a super windy day in Fort Collins, Colorado. Take a look at this view. Absolutely stunning on that side of the truck. Love it here. This is the 2022 Ram Rebel GT. It's an interesting trim level in the Ram lineup because it's about as off-road aggressive as you can get before you get to the TRX, which has the 700 horsepower supercharged V8, which we've tested. This is sort of a baby TRX. And what I want to find out is, should you save your money or should you spend the extra 20 grand, because that's about the price difference spec for spec, to get the TRX? Let's see. Well, it's kind of cold, so forgive me for shivering a little bit, but this is a Ram. We can do truck stuff. We should be able to brave the cold. I'll just get price out of the way. This thing's $72,000, which is not a fully maxed out Ram Rebel GT, but close. The GT package can be had on the Laramie or the Rebel. This one's 5-foot 7-inch bed, has the 5.7 liter V8. Let me pop the hood. I'm going to show you this really quick because underneath the hood it has the e-torque engine, which I've been looking forward to trying out some modern versions of this e-torque system after it's had some revisions over the years. I've driven plenty of engines with FCA or now Stellantis's e-torque system. Actually, Jordan, if you come around on this side, you can actually see it right here. It's this belt system that helps boost it. The way this works is really interesting. This engine makes the same 395 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque as, excuse the wind, oh my God, it's really windy, makes the same horsepower and torque as the non-e-torque V8, which you can also spec in this truck. And I believe it's actually the same options cost. What this does though is it gives you this 48 volt mild hybrid boost off the line. It also allows for more time spent at start-stop operation. It's been too cold for the truck to kick on the AC compressor. One of the tests I like to do with mild hybrids is, will it let you turn the wheel with the engine off? Answer is yes. Second is, will it let you run the air conditioning compressor with the engine off? That I haven't been able to test. So maybe we'll drive this engine in another vehicle at some point in the future. The reason the horsepower and torque are the same is because that's your peak number. The e-torque helps with the down-low stuff. So maybe you'll only have 220 pound-feet of torque. I'm making up numbers in the regular V8, but here you could get, 380 because it's 120 or more than that pound-feet of torque boost for a short period of time, helping at low speed starts. So we're gonna do some launches in this and see how it feels. Drivetrain wise is pretty similar to any other Ram we've tested. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive auto, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low with a rear locker. The color's terrible, really is. You just got to get this thing darkened out, gray, black. That's when Rams look best. We had a super awesome silver TRX that was just fantastic. The GT package on the Rebel, so the Rebel's all kind of the off-road tough stuff. Then the GT stuff gives you this hood. So it's sort of like a TRX hood, gives it this muscular look. In other words, it kills visibility, but I think it actually looks pretty good. Cold air intake, better sounding exhaust. They call it cold side exhaust. It's a cat back, or it might just be a rear box difference, but this thing sounds awesome, like rips and sounds really good. GT badge on the back. Let's climb around this giant snowbank and I'll show you in the back of it. Typical Ram, no fancy tailgate on this one. Thank goodness. I don't like all the fancy tailgates that Ram does. I just like this. Open, nice, nicely damped as well. Bed liner, optional, good. Tonneau cover, optional, not so good. We ripped this off, put it on for the review because this is how the truck came. But I've actually been moving. We have a new office for out of spec and took this out, put all of our desks and crap in it, used it like a truck. It's been pretty good. We'll have to look up the exact tow rating on this. I haven't towed with it. I want to, but haven't at this moment. You also have this nice little step so you can get in. Oh wait, which way am I supposed to go with this thing? My foot's stuck. You're supposed to push down and pull, then you can step into the bed a little bit easier. And then I think it's like a, kick in. Something like that. This one has the optional, what is it, 33-gallon fuel tank, Jordan? 33-gallon fuel tank. Haven't done an MPG test on it, but perhaps in another video we will. Let's take a look inside. This is the thing I love about full-size trucks. People use these things as their daily drivers, their family haulers. I have the seat where I would sit. Look at this. It's like an S-Class. It might be better than an S-Class, actually. Insane. USB-C, USB-A's, 4 of them each. Heated rear seats as well in this particular trim. And, of course, a wall outlet in the back. 400 watt continuous on this one, which is nice. So that's good. Nice little details everywhere. It's got the rough leather that all Rams have. The cab on this thing's freaking nice. Hop in the passenger side. I'm going to get in the driver's side. Keyless access, which is great. As you guys make your way around. Good?
Yep.
Welcome into the cab. Well, good stuff. The GT package gives you these seats too, which are like sculpted, little TRX-y. Not the Alcantara that we saw. The TRX also has the plate here. This isn't that special. Why am I comparing it to a TRX? Well, I don't know. That has a lot more horsepower and a lot more money. But this is kind of like the sportier, special normal Ram, and that's the special Ram. Too many trim levels. Start button comes right into life. Sounds great on Tickover too. By the way, the key, let me show you this in my pocket. This is the key. You can lower the truck with the key. This one has the air suspension. If you take a look at this control here, we have all these different off-road mode, different modes, aero, and then lowering for entry exit. Truck only lets you drive in aero mode. It's one of the only pickup trucks other than the Rivian R1T that I've driven with 4-corner air suspension, and it still rides terribly. I don't understand that. Well, I do. It's a truck, but they all just ride like crap unloaded. You got to put some stuff in this thing for it to ride well. Inside though, the positioning's amazing. I love the wheel. The paddle shifters are odd. If you take a look back here, you'll see they have this bendy shape. That's because you have the traditional volume track buttons on the back. They should just get rid of those and put nice paddles here. These are quite awkward, but they work and they're quite responsive. Love the way it sits. Tons of room to sprawl out. Beautiful glass roof. 100% would spec this. I think it's $1,200, something like that. $1,800. $1,500. Okay, it's some amount of money. You can go on the configurator and check for yourself. And then it's got the 12-inch U-Connect, which isn't as good as they would want you to believe. It has crashed on us a couple times. Yesterday, we actually couldn't even get it to work. I wasn't driving it, but Jordan was. And so what happened there, Jordan? I'll get closer.
It went completely black and just would not come on. I restarted the truck. I only restarted the truck once. It still wouldn't come on. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just wait. And then Timon drove it later and it came right on.
Okay, so needed to sit and think about life for a little while. Some missing buttons here. Hazards, that's nice. 12-volt power outlet up there. And then you just have tons of storage. By the way, this also has Apple CarPlay, which has crashed on us a few times. So I'm not convinced the software's ready to go on this thing quite yet. Really, for any of them. We also had the Jeep Grand Wagoneer recently, which we crashed. Well, someone crashed into us. Sorry, Stellantis. Thanks for loaning us another car. Ripped the wheel off that thing. And that software was really buggy too, and CarPlay just completely went away. So I'm not convinced the software's so great in these things totally. Let me go through some storage. You have a little pocket here, wireless phone charger on this side, storage on that side, cup holders, good meaty sized cup holders. I like this area here because this is where I end up throwing the key most of the time. Then you have level 1 storage, regular USB-A. I think this is the only USB-A position that doesn't have a C next to it. Then you have even more storage and another wall outlet, 400 watt continuous. Gotta love that. Look at all the change holders. Do people even use that anymore? Use change? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, and this is fun. You get math calculations on the back here. So if you need to know your tan and cosine and all this stuff, I don't even know what it is.
Geometry.
Yeah. Then you can learn in your Ram. Teach your college courses right here from the Ram. Also, take a look up here. Top glove box, bottom glove box. This is where your owner's manual comes. This is nice, this bag. I'd probably take the manuals out and use this somewhere else. That's a really nice little unit. This is a tow hitch adapter for something. That didn't close so well. Hold on. There we go. What can this system do? Well, it can do quite a bit. Because this one is the GT, the Rebel GT, it gives you all of your performance data here. You also have a specific performance menu there. This one always takes a little while to launch. That was the fastest I've ever seen it.
Wow.
That was crazy. We reviewed the TRX a year ago now, something like that. And that would take like 30 seconds for it to kick on. Now you can do like engine horsepower, torque numbers. It maybe only works when you're driving. Oh no. There we go. We have all of our gauges. G-force display. Vehicle dynamics, steering angle. Look at this. That's freaking awesome. And you can even take screenshots of it and send it to your friends, your performance data in your RAM. Send it to your friends. What else is there to know? Not much. Let's take it for a drive. You join me in the Ram.
Let's do it.
It's got an electric parking brake, which is interesting. The air suspension's also interesting. And just the overall ramness of it is pretty interesting. Let's go to the right. It's got, I think, an 8-speed automatic transmission with the shifter in the correct direction, which means when you're in manual mode, you pull back to upshift and push to downshift. Sounds awesome. Foot down, first of all. Love that 5.7 traditional Hemi. Rips the shifts.
Nice.
Really good gear ratio as well. What's interesting is this truck has performance pages here in the screen, so you can do your 0 to 60, your quarter mile, your 8th mile timing, excuse me. And I always find that
lap
fun.
times, 0 to 100 timing.
It's got this truck, so the top speed this truck's ever been, not set by us because we're responsible adults sometimes, is hold on, let me go. I think it's page 5 fuel economy. Well, let's just see what our fuel economy was. We've had this truck for how long?
200 miles-ish.
15.4 mpg, and we've been ripping it. So this one, if I hold OK, 0 to 60, 7.9 seconds is the best someone set. And then the top speed this truck's ever been has been...
Very last page.
The last page, lap history, 98 miles an hour. I assume that's the top speed limiter, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's silly. You don't need that in a truck, but I think it's good. I mean, if it's got it, throw it in there, may as well, right? So that's always interesting. I just love the way trucks drive in general. I'm a truck guy. You know, I love to sprawl out. I like to sit on top of the road. I have some issues with this truck though, and they have to do with the sight lines out of the hood. Because this one has the extra fancy power hood thing from the Rebel GT versus the standard truck, I find it pretty hard to place on the road to like get where I want to go, especially in city environments.
Yeah, you have to do this.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of looking around, like, and this one doesn't have 360-degree cameras for parking. Doesn't have rear steer, which should be standard on trucks these days.
Yep.
Remember GM Quadra steer? This isn't a new technology. I saw one the other day actually, and it was like a rusted out GMC, and it still worked.
Dang.
Yeah. You've driven this truck more than I have, so I'd love to get your overall opinions on it.
Yeah, the around town, it's not great.
What isn't great about it?
So specifically, the transmission drives me nuts.
What's wrong with the transmission?
When it downshifts and you're on really low speed, it's extremely clunky.
Oh, so it like doesn't rev match and just goes gear.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Maybe it's supposed to. I don't know, but it's.
I mean, maybe it's supposed to, but maybe that's not a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bit clunky. It never really finds the gear I want it to be in, so oftentimes we'll just shift myself, but then to knock it back in, you have to put it into sport mode and then back into drive.
What if you just use the pedals?
Yeah, if you use paddles, it'll never go back to... Oh, it did?
You just hold the plus.
Oh, never knew that.
It's like every car.
I've been driving it wrong this entire time.
Have you been driving every car wrong that way? That's how you get every car back to drive, is you hold the right pedal.
Learn something new every day on
That's
this channel.
amazing to me that you didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, well, yeah, that's how you put every car back in drive. Or you can, of course,
yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Shifter. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, every Mercedes that like has the shifter on the stock, you have to hold the right pedal to go back into drive.
Nice.
Yeah, so look, here's like a tight situation. We're going wide. We're cranking all the way.
It's a long truck.
Yeah, it's got a short bed too. I mean, it feels a lot bigger than your F-150. Not your F-150, but then a F-150 of a similar size with a 5.5 foot bed or so.
Yep.
And to be honest, driving around town normally, this e-torque system is pretty good too. Let's come to a stop. We'll let the revs shut off. So it's off completely. Super smooth. On. And we're on.
Yep.
And it like pops into life because it uses the 48 volt mild hybrid to turn on and off the V8. You don't feel the start stops.
Yeah.
But you get this nice little, I would say, reassuring startup sound of the V8 in the back.
Yeah, you know when it starts. It's not, you're not questioning it.
Yeah, but it's also a different startup than the like a cold start. It's just on. And so I would 100% get this e-torque. How are we looking to the right?
We're good.
Good? Okay. I'm going to go into four-wheel drive auto, and I'm just going to do a quick, not boosted. I'm going to turn start stop off. I just want to feel how this thing gets off the line because we haven't nailed it yet.
Yeah.
Huge boost off the line from that 48 volt.
Just sounds good.
And that's a little bit more than we should be going. Oh, it's not that fast though. So it's a $70,000 truck that at altitude, we have to preface this, we are at over 5,000 feet of elevation, over a mile above sea level.
6,000 right now,
Yeah. And so this high, this truck feels slow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any other way to say it.
But the Wagoneer felt fast.
The Wagoneer felt fast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, the Wagoneer ripped.
Yeah.
But that didn't have the e-torque.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the difference would be.
Yeah.
I guess just big tires, more drivetrain loss here.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like an equivalent EcoBoost, just because turbos naturally has a much more advantage at elevation, which is why I think we see a ton of EcoBoost F-150s here versus the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And it could just be that, you know, maybe I'm just looking at trucks around here more, but it makes sense to have forced induction. The TRX we had here didn't feel crazy fast, but then you just had the TRX at sea level. And what was that like versus an EcoBoost Raptor?
Yeah, those both very fast. But it's just hard to, I don't know. I never did experience a TRX up here at altitude. So,
Right.
But that's a blazing fast truck.
Yeah, but it didn't feel blazing fast here.
It didn't.
Not as much as like some of the Ford stuff always just feels fast here. Like a power boost hybrid. Anyway, we're getting off track. Ram Rebel GT V8, 100% would get the e-torque. The diesel wouldn't be a bad choice either.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get the Rebel GT with a diesel though. I think you have to get the V8 to get the GT. Could be wrong. Comment below. Great truck for daily stuff. Like actually pretty fuel efficient considering the way we've been driving it.
Yeah.
15's pretty good for mostly around city, hauling stuff back and forth, short trips. You know, Timon's been ripping it, I'm sure.
Yep.
I like the air suspension. It still is a bit choppy and gives you this truck vibe over bumps, but it is a truck and it can tow up to 12,000 pounds, I believe, even for this version.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it could do 12,000? We haven't looked.
I think so. Officially, they rate it at 12,750, and they say there's an asterisk there, and it says appropriately spec'd, and they wouldn't say in the asterisk what that means. It said.
Well, I'm sure we could look into it. And find
it said contact your dealer.
Contact your dealer.
So the only thing we don't know is if the air suspension affects the towing.
Right,
But
that's my biggest
You
concern.
have to be equipped with the engine to get that 12,750.
Let's try the handling. Second gear. Throwing it in.
It just feels so like low-fee and lumbersome because it's so big and we're so high off the ground.
Yeah, but that's any truck. I would say, though, it handles pretty well for what it needs. Like, this air suspension's pretty good. It's just not as smooth as I would think when I think air suspension. Like, I think the Rivian does a better job with its suspension calibration than this does.
Yeah, the big benefit of this air suspension is like setting it to passenger load mode where it's the lowest, and then you can do lift mode to get over some crazy.
Yeah, it's nicer to
bumps.
get in and out every day.
Yeah.
You put it in park, slams. Love that.
And it has a good amount of travel.
It really does. It's a good truck overall. I think from my side, the reason I keep bringing up the TRX is this is 71,995, right?
Yeah, which is just a couple thousand shy of the base TRX, which has a lot as a base truck. Like,
Now, there's other considerations here. First of which, this is a max, not a total max out. It doesn't have any of the driver assistance stuff, but they claim it can do lane centering and adaptive cruise control. But, you know, so basically it's maxed out Rebel GT is the same price as a base TRX.
Yep.
What's more important to you, features or 300 more horsepower?
yeah,
200 more
features are
horsepower?
fun.
300 more horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice feature. Is
Yeah.
that supercharger wines.
Yeah, so I don't know why you would get this, spend 72 grand, and not spend the extra 1,600 for all the dynamic cruise, adaptive cruise.
Yeah, this
lane
is an
centering.
odd spec.
Yeah, Like, that gives you everything. 360 camera, all in one.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is probably a more comfortable truck to live with every day. It's not as wide as a TRX, so it's going to be easier to maneuver. It's going to get way better fuel economy. I mean, like, maybe even double.
TRX is really bad.
Really bad on fuel. I mean, there's reasons not to get that truck. And, you know, if you just need an everyday truck, like, people buy these things and live out of them. I don't mean realistically, but I mean, like, this is their job. Right, they're going to be in these trucks all day, every day, piling the miles on it. And fuel economy does matter, and so does, you know, sort of just usability and having adaptive cruise control and all that stuff. So I do see the case for the Rebel GT, but plus you do get the good looks.
Yeah.
Truck's probably pretty capable off-road. We haven't done it. If we do, that'll be another video. This is just our final sort of, you know, thoughts in one video, 20, 30 minutes or so. And yeah, I think it's enough of a difference where I would almost consider going for this over a TRX, because honestly, it's a truck. Do I need it to go 0 to 60 in 4 and whatever seconds and waste all the fuel? And I love everything about the TRX, but my hard-earned money, if I was buying this as a working vehicle, I'd go for like a luxury spec.
Yeah.
You know, something like this, or even a Laramie GT.
They have great interiors, like good interior fit and finish. I'm just not a fan of the software, but they can improve that.
Software can be
updates.
updated.
Yeah.
Yep. And then really at the end of the day, the truck's quiet, comfortable, pretty much on the highway, cruises nicely. It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Sound system's not my favorite.
Yeah, you're not into the sound system.
No.
I've only listened to it briefly, but I would just say
Otherwise,
the power needs...
At least it sounds good going slow.
Yeah, it's not fast. But do trucks need to be? I don't know. I would just like this thing with 12,000 pounds in the back. I don't know. I feel like 7 to 9 is where this truck would shine, sort of on the high load end. Anyway, thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Really enjoying this truck. Glad I don't have to spend 72 grand for it.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of money. And honestly, if I was buying a truck, it wouldn't be this trim level. I would get uber luxury and pile the miles on it and live out of it and, you know, use it for everything I need. Or, honestly, yeah, well, TRX or just like a base one.
Yeah.
I like work truck specs.
Yeah.
And your opinions, final wrap up? Jordan will have an article on swerveautos.com, our written site, full review.
Yeah, yeah. But it's good. I just wouldn't buy it maybe. But this has turned me on to the Ram game a bit more. The TRX was a bit over the top, and it's just not livable fuel economy. Especially, like, I had that in California.
And it was premium fuel.
Driving by gas stations with $6.50 a gallon is like, nope, not good. But this is compelling. It just sounds good. The way I would drive this every day, get in the truck, open the rear window.
I like that you can hold the left paddle, for example, and it just drops to the lowest gear. And so you'd send it. Also, it does the great upshift if you hit the rev limiter in second and then hit there. Take a listen.
Yeah. That's how I drive it every day.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye.